I'm bringing to the stage a friend of mine. Now, you may have seen this gentleman as he walked through earlier. You may have seen him at the door back this morning. But he's going to tell you his story, so I'm not going to tell you that. What I'm going to tell you is he's been in rehab for 18 and a half years. When he tells you the story, you'll get it, but he walks kind of funny. He walks kind of funny. And one thing, I went to his house, I spent some time with him, and I said, Jeff, he said, Reuben, I would drink all the time, and I would drink to get drunk. That's transparency, isn't it? I said, you would drink to get drunk? He said, yeah, I would drink to get drunk. And I said, is it because you just wanted to drink? Is it just was because you wanted to get away from your problems, you get away from your fears? He said, no. When I was drunk, or people thought I was drunk, nobody judged me by the way I walked. They just thought it was because I was drunk. See, you never know what somebody else is dealing with, but every 42 seconds, somebody proves that they were dealing with something. And so now Jeff is about to save somebody from their 42-second mishap. I'm bringing to the stage my friend, Jeff Markinette Jr. from Pickle, Ohio.
Thank you, Reuben. Thank you, Mike. Sorry. This is hard for me to actually think that I'm standing here right now in front of all you guys.
You're looking good, Jeff.
And that means a lot to me. But, so, I'm actually going to have you do some things. I need you to sit up straight, put both your feet flat on the ground, and I'm going to count to 3. And this time, this count of 3, I want you to clap your hands 1 time, and then stop. Complete silence. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Alright, that was great. Now I'm going to make it a little tougher. I gotta test your coordination or something, I don't know. On the count of 3 this time, I want you to clap your hands 1 time and then stomp your left foot. Everybody say left.
Left.
Alright, it's not your right, but you're correct. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Great job. Now I'm going to make it a little tougher again. So, on the count of 3 this time, I want you to just clap your hands 1 time, stomp your left foot 1 time, remember, not your right, and say boom. Alright?
All at the same time,
And
or
then,
one after another?
no, one right after the other. Or all at the same time. All at the same time. Alright.
All at the same time.
On the count of 3, and then remember, afterward, no noise, alright? 1, 2, 3.
Boom.
That was the last sound I heard when I was 17. Sitting at a green light, waiting to turn left, when a semi decided to run the red light. From this accident, I suffered a broken neck, a traumatic brain injury, a broken jaw, 2 fractured ribs, a punctured lung, and a ruptured spleen. Now, I talked about the traumatic brain injury. And that's the worst injury because it's an injury that nobody can see. It's an injury that will get me judged everywhere I go and get me judged harshly because it makes me walk kind of funny, makes me talk kind of funny. And then on top of that all, I was in a coma for 2.5 months. Now, Ruben talks about being in rehab for 18 plus years. And he was actually on my show for my 18th year anniversary on January 7th of this year. Now, as you can see, top left is me. That's the day my halo came off. And that's the day, actually, no, that's the day I came home. And then you can see when I got home, I was in the middle picture that I had a collar still, and I was being pushed in a wheelchair. Now, if I had given up at that time, I would still be in that wheelchair.
Come on.
I know right now that you said you went through a divorce, and I haven't talked to many other people in here, but I know that other people have been through some things. And I want to let you in on a secret here. Lean in close because I want you to hear me. And hear me well. So, your past circumstances do not determine your future. Now repeat after me. My past circumstances do not determine my future. Look, those things that happened in your past are in your past. And they're not going to matter. But, so after my accident, I was in the hospital with a halo. As you can see in the two right pictures right here. And those were actually taken at the pizza party the day that I came home, or right before I got out of the hospital. And that thing down there on the left is the evil walker. Now, let me tell you about that. So, well, actually, I'll tell you about something else first. Right before I left the hospital, my therapist came down to my room to get me like any other day. And I didn't think anything of it, but he took me to this little room. Now, this little room was strange. It had mats all over the floor, and the walls were padded. I was like, uh-oh, what do I do now? But he then said, okay, get down on the floor. I was like, okay, it's therapy. I'll get down on the floor. And then he walked out of the room. And I'm laying there on the floor and like, what the heck is going on? He comes back in. He's pushing a walker. Now, I had heard I was getting a walker, and I was all excited, thinking I would just get up and walk right away, because I knew I had abilities before my accident, and I thought it would be no problem. But he pushed it over to me and says, all right, get up. I'm not going to help you at all, but get up. So I struggled, and it was shocking because it was something I knew I could do, and I didn't understand. But I finally did get up, and my therapist says to me, I can't rightly send you home walking with this walker if you can't get up. I know that you're going to fall. And I know that people here have fallen. And you didn't know how to get back up. He wanted to make sure I could get back up on my own. Because he knew I was going to fall. And he didn't want me to remain down there. So I have come up with the 5 things I learned about from my near-death experience. Now, before my accident, I had all these abilities. And I'm not talking abilities like I played soccer, I played football, I played basketball, I played baseball. I was an avid BMX rider. But I'm not talking about those abilities. I'm talking about abilities that everybody in here has. Like, you get up and walk right now, you get up and walk up these steps, but walking up here, to me, that's hard. Walking up these steps, they're impossible. Ruben had to give me a hand to get up these steps. That's not easy for me. And many people give up on things abilities that they have because they're not going right. And you feel that it's not worth your time to keep trying. But let me tell you right now, it is. Because when I got up and walked for the first time, you don't know how excited I was to be a 17-year-old that just learned how to walk. Because people know how to walk when they're little. But at that age, you have a lot less distance to fall than you do at 17. Number 2 is I always had I gotta look. I'm sorry, I forgot. That's another thing the head injury has done. It's made it harder to remember things. Alright, so I always wanted everything. I even got a job when I was 14, so I could buy the things I wanted. But I wasn't thankful for what I already had. How many things do you have in life that you aren't thankful for? How often do you look at your mom and tell her you're thankful for all she does? Because I don't have a mom. My mom actually died October 21st, 2016, right after I got back from the BBS Live training, which is an amazing event. Make sure you check that out after. So, number 3 is life is a gift, a precious gift, and a gift every 42 seconds ends for somebody. But it needs to be celebrated. Look, we have anniversary parties. We have birthday parties. Some people might even have divorce parties and all kinds of things. But how often is it that we stop and have a little party just for being alive?
Yeah.
Wow. Good boy.
So that's one of the reasons I love that song. Because it says it's good to be alive right about now. And that's true. But, oh, darn. Alright, so 4 is never, ever, ever, ever give up on yourself. Look, I started walking with that evil walker. Now, hang on here. I'll show it to you again. Maybe. Alright, so I actually started off in a wheelchair in the middle of there. And they were surprised when I came out of the coma and got into a wheelchair and was able to hold my head up straight and ride along. But they told me at that point that I could stop this therapy thing at any time. People lived every day being in a wheelchair and they were happy. Wrong. Check that tablet.
Low battery.
Oh, well the
Just keep
timer
going,
is,
Jeff. Just keep going.
alright. But I told him no. I didn't want to do that. So I got to walking with that evil walker. And as you can see, you put your arms on it and it holds all your weight. So you're basically being held up by your arms. They were surprised. They told me, you know, you can quit this therapy thing at any time. People live every day in a wheelchair, just barely walking, but walking with the evil walker. And they're happy. I said, no, I don't think so. So I got to walking with a regular old person walker, sorry, elderly. But they were really surprised at that time because I was up and walking with the walker and they told me, you know, you can quit this therapy thing at any time. People live every day walking with a walker and they're happy. I said, I don't know. So I got to walking with a cane and they were like, wow, Jeff, we can't believe this, man. You're making such progress. And I was like, yeah, I am. They said, you know, you can quit this therapy thing anytime. People live every day walking with a cane and they're happy.
That's good.
I said, no. I didn't want to because I wanted to be the example for people like everybody out here. I knew that I was a beacon of hope. I knew that there was something more for me. So I got to walking with nothing. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. And they're like, you can finally quit this therapy thing now. You're walking. I said, no. You see, there was still room for improvement. And I wanted to run.
Come on, Jeff.
And I am going to run. Actually, at the last Black Belt Speaker live training, which you all should check out, I ran for this man. It was quite the ugly run. And I'm sure people laughed at me, but I don't care because I did it. So when I'm walking across this room, remember that's where I came from. Remember that there's more to what is possible than you believe. Because a lot of people are going to tell you you can't do it or it's not possible for you because they tried it, it didn't work for them. So it's definitely not going to work for you. But I want to tell you right now that it is possible. You are possible. Don't doubt that. Because if I had given up, I would be right there. Still being pushed around in a wheelchair by my dad. Or, well, not my mom anymore. But by my dad. And that would suck. And I shouldn't say suck. but that would suck. So guys, I live by a motto now that is make every second count. But my fifth point is I could make every second count, and so can everyone else. So that means you guys. Look, there are 86,400 seconds in a day,
That's right.
and we can make every one of them count. And if you would like to know how, come talk to me afterward. Get me to speak somewhere else. I'd be happy to. And if you want to find out my whole story and the story of many other powerful speakers, Angie Hodges over there has books called Live Your Best Life, Answer the Call. And I'm actually in that book as well. So check that out. And you guys remember, you have to do me a favor. You have to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when those seconds are going to run out on your one life.
Jeff don't know. Give it up again for Jeff Martinet Jr. Listen, I love his story because the doctors told him when he came out of the coma, you will never walk again. Listen to that. They told him you will never walk again, and they had all the authority, they had all the ability, they had all the knowledge. They believed it was true. And when I was at Jeff's house, I said, Jeff, what made you think that you would go into this therapy and you would be able to walk? And he said, Ruben, he never says Dr. West, so I'm gonna he said, Ruben, let me tell you. He said, the doctors will take your blood pressure and they can tell you what your blood pressure is. And then they also can measure your sugar in your blood and all these different things. I was like, yeah. He said, you know, another thing they could do is they could do like MRIs and CT scans and things like that because they're looking inside your body and they're looking for the disease and they're looking for the problems and they're looking for the issues and they can tell you all of that. He said, but you know what, Ruben? I said, what, Jeff? He said, they can't tell you what's in here.